Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to today's Postgrad Insight session. Today's session is a live webinar brought to you by postgrad.com, and it will be working with Cardiff University today. Now, before I hand you over to Luis, just a reminder, live session, so if you have any questions, Q&A facility at the bottom or top of your page, depending on the device you're using. And also this will be live streamed on Facebook and on Instagram and LinkedIn also. So if you have any questions, use the messenger facility. We do not see any questions on the post, so please ensure questions are emailed or sent on the messenger facility. For now, though, I'd like to hand you over to Luis. Luis is going to take you through the next 30 to 40 minutes. If at any stage the signal or the Wi-Fi is quite bad for you guys, don't worry, we will send it to you. I will come on and we'll engage in a Q&A if it does pop off, but we'll hopefully have a good enough, strong enough signal. We'll see you through in the next 40 minutes. Over to you, Luis.
Hello, everyone. My connection is, I'm also having troubles with my connection, so I apologize to start with, but let me start saying, good afternoon to people joining us from Asia, good morning from people joining us from the Middle East, Europe, and Africa, and good evening, and thank you for staying up so late to people from the Americas, the part where I am from. My name is Luis Añanguren. I'm from Venezuela originally, and I came to the UK to do my second degree, and I had an amazing time. So this presentation is not only to talk about Cardiff University and what makes Cardiff one of the best options we have, but also to share my own experience as an international student. And with me, we have two students who are going to be joining us today. We have from two different countries, Victoria from Namibia and Shota from India. And they are amazing students, and they will also be sharing their own experience with you guys. So today, the idea is you will learn about Cardiff, but you also will learn how it is to be an international student in the UK. So let's start. Cardiff was founded in 1883. It's a traditional university, and it's one of the largest universities in the UK with about 34,000 students. I have been 23 years in the UK, and I have visited about 40 universities campuses, and Cardiff was voted about a few years ago one of the most beautiful universities in the UK, and I can guarantee that it is a stunning city and a stunning university. You have traditional buildings, mixed with, swanky state-of-the-art building, and you will have not only an amazing experience, also you're coming to a stunning, beautiful university, and you can show very proudly. We are a top 200 in the world, and many of our schools and many of our departments, many of our degrees are top 10 in the UK or top 50 or top 100. And that's something that, you will be seeing different universities, you will go into different presentations, and it's something the universities talk about. It's all about rankings, and it's part of, it's really part of your decision process. It's very important. It's part of where you come into the UK to get the quality. However, sometimes students make the mistake to only consider rankings as the main or the only factor in the decision process. And ranking is part of the decision process, but the more you find about the university, the more you fall in love with the university, the more you will enjoy the experience, and the better you're going to, at the end, to be.
I think at this stage, I'm going to invite Victoria and Shloka onto the webinar. Victoria, Shloka, if you just want to turn your screens on quickly, we'll just have a brief chat about your experiences at Cardiff University. Victoria, if I can start with yourself to begin with, obviously speaking before the webinar, you're a Chevening scholar. Very exciting because obviously Postgrad's partnered with Chevening, and we are the core search facility. Tell me about how you went about applying for a Chevening scholarship, how easy you found it, and how that has impacted on your potential career.
I would like to reintroduce myself. I'm Victoria Shipale. Currently, as I'm speaking, I'm back in my country, Namibia, which is in Southern Africa. Applying for Chevening is like one of those big things, like in every Commonwealth country, because it's a fully funded scholarship, and every student is looking forward to get this opportunity. And I think I count myself as one of the fortunate scholars, because on my first attempt, I was able to get a Chevening scholarship. And as most of you know, you find people that have taken time on their first attempt, second attempt, and third attempt to get into this Chevening scholarship. One thing it takes determination. You really need to want to get the scholarship, and also you get enough time to prepare your application. So it just there's 4 basic questions it asks about, and it's just who you are. Because I always find people ask, how do you go about writing these scholars, this application process? How do you go about it? But, mostly when you know yourself, it makes it much easier, because I also believe that we are all born leaders. It might not be leaders in high portfolio positions such as a manager or that, but it also matters just as leading certain activities within your family and being able to bring about change. And I think that's what the Chevening Scholarship is all about, together with the Foreign Commonwealth Development. That's what they want to see. They want to shape leaders, people that can go back and put some action into their country. So it's more about, what are your leadership skills? What influence can you have in your society and community? And then your networking skills, even if you go into a different platform, how do you network, And it also goes as vast. Imagine I'm currently back in Namibia, but because of the networking skills that I have, I can still be part of these webinars that are taking place in the UK. And it just gives you that advantage to be able to explore and get to know who you are and network with other people to build relations that can make you a better leader for the future. And then I think the third question that they usually ask is studying in the UK. So I think that was like, mostly everybody's like, I want to go overseas. And I've never been overseas, So this was like literally my first time going overseas. Everything I've seen on TV, the Big Bang, you just hear about Big Bang Theory. And then all these nice things, Roald Dahl storybooks that we read in high school and it all became a reality, something that I've seen on TV and read on the internet. And I think I was so passionate and I really wanted to go. I decided to go to delve deeper into knowing, what are some of the cities that I want to go to. And coming from Namibia during COVID-19, there has been such a great impact, especially in African countries. Let me say for my country, Namibia, because we are not vast in medicinal, we don't have vast medicine, pharmaceuticals that could assist. So most of the assistance came from, first world class countries. And Cardiff University was one of the key institutions that partnered with our government through the Phoenix project to bring about change in, to assist with the vaccines and also just to give us sanitation, sanitizers, and just to ensure that within our communities we were able to, to ensure that we are keeping clean and just to avoid the spread of COVID-19. And I think that's when I decided, I think I want to go to Cardiff. If they were able to come all the way down to my country and, bring about this change, why not go to Cardiff University, be involved and get to know what it is like, how their culture is. And I think just because getting more into that, and those were some of the things that I wrote in my essays, because it was very practical. It was something I could relate to. And being a people's person, moving into international human resource management, which I feel is a good opportunity, because then for people to get in organizations, they need to go through HR. And also for people to stay within an organization, me as an HR practitioner plays that pivotal role. So, those were now some of the reasons that I looked into, and I said, no, Cardiff was like one of the good places I wanted to get into. And Chevening really took care of me, like from the flight. I didn't need to, think about, oh my goodness, how am I going to put, some of that money together to get to the UK. Everything was fully sponsored. And I think some universities ask for a payment that needs to be done, the £2,000 that need to be paid, but that was also covered through the university as a sponsorship to me, additionally to my Chevening scholarship. So I just had to pack my bags and get to the airport, So it was really amazing. And, also just the stipend that I would receive monthly, it was more than enough. I could, I couldn't feel that, oh no, I'm going to, how I'm going to feel cold, because when I come there, I've never experienced such cold weather. And, my stipend made sure that I was able to go to the shops and get all those warm gears and just prepare myself. So I think it's such a great opportunity. The people are amazing. And I think we'll still delve deeper into that, when they come. So if you're within the Commonwealth countries, I'd advise that you look into the Chevening scholarship. It closes on the 5th of November. So you still have time if you really, want to make use of this opportunity. I would advise you to go onto their website, chevening.org, read about it. They have seminars. You'll be able to get all the information. It's exciting. It's and they take good care of you.
I can assure anyone watching, Victoria doesn't work for the Chevening. This is her passion for the Chevening. It's fantastic. Louise, thank you for rejoining. I think we're just going to continue like this for the time being. I think anyone that wants the presentation, we can send it to them as a PDF later on. Shloka, thank you for waiting there. If you want to explain your circumstances, how you got involved with Cardiff University, I think Victoria, obviously based in Namibia, I think she said. Obviously, I think Louise mentioned you're India. Is that right? And what's your background and how did you come about finding Cardiff University?
Right. So I also did my undergrad here, which means I've spent almost 4 years at Cardiff University. And I didn't know that Victoria knew about the Phoenix Fellowship because I've been a part of it.
Oh, wow,
and
okay.
I taught on Phoenix Med Ed for over 2 years. And this is just a full circle moment. But then Victoria's story is super inspiring. And I honestly look up to her. But I am a current integrated master's student in neuroscience at Cardiff University, and I started uni in 2020. And if I have come so far starting during COVID, you guys can also do it. That's all I'm going to say. But obviously, since I've been here for 4 years, I've benefited from exceptional support since my undergraduate years at Cardiff. Obviously, extensive resources both in undergrad and postgrad between research and other personal development opportunities exist. The tailored support doesn't necessarily end at undergrad. If anything, it increases at postgrad. They want to make sure you're career ready. So my standout experience was my placement year in Melbourne, Australia, facilitated by Cardiff University's Global Opportunities team. This led to both academic growth and personal achievements like becoming a certified scuba diver. Even after my placement here, I received a bursary to attend multiple conferences in America and Amsterdam, which was really beneficial as an undergraduate researcher because funding for undergraduate researchers is equal to none. And Cardiff just being there, stepping up for me was really helpful in my career as a researcher. And I also gained valuable professional experiences through 2 paid internships this summer, and this was through the work experience team. I worked at the Centre for Trials Research and Health Education Improvement Wales, which is a subsidiary of NHS Wales. So I've dibble-dabbled between the government organizations, private organizations. So this just goes on to show that no matter where you want to gain experience, Cardiff Work Experience team is always there for you. And currently I assist with career preparations as in CV, cover letter checks, interview preparations as a student futures assistant, and I work as a business development associate at Redden Lab, which is a speech biometrics company. This is a role that I gained through my placement here, which wouldn't have been possible if there wasn't the support from the Global Opportunities team. And through Cardiff's continuous support, even through post-graduation, has been invaluable, even for academic and professional development. I did have my slide in there which showed which showed me scuba diving in Australia and like the bunch of other things that I've done. But it's honestly such a holistic experience. Cardiff just supports you no matter what you want to do. I've even started snowboarding now, which is so out of the blue. And no matter what your interests are, there is something for everyone.
Did you know all this? So obviously, when people think education and they think postgraduate education in particular, they think a hard slog. Victoria, I open it to you as well because, I've been there myself. Everyone thinks it's a hard slog. It's a very difficult year or two. But actually, they can be a couple of the best years of your life, potentially, in terms of what opportunities await for you. The fact that you've just mentioned snowboarding, scuba diving in one sentence, it just seems absurd to me, but that is the way it's become now, which is fantastic, isn't it?
100%. It's just, I feel like with postgrad, you need to also take initiative. You need to make sure that you're going out there and seeking these experiences as well, because if you ask for it, you'll be provided with it. But if you don't ask for it, nobody's going to come to you and tell you that I want you to go snowboarding. I want you to become a certified scuba diver. So I feel like it's just one of those things you're in postgrad where you need to step up and take initiative for yourself.
Absolutely. Victoria, do you want to elaborate further on that as well? Because I think that's quite important. You know, your experiences that you mentioned earlier, they seem very bespoke to you, which is great. There will be a lot of students as well that would have been in the same camp as you in terms of international students moving from Namibia, coming to Cardiff, you know, studying your course, going back to your respective country. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort, but you're not alone, are you? There's a whole load of Chevening scholars that are in the same boat as yourself. Is that right?
Yeah. I think one thing is, when you relocate and it's about finding community, and most of the time students would either find themselves in student houses or university residences. So, that's where the community starts. And also one thing I've really loved at Cardiff University is that you would be informed about all the different types of activities that are taking place at the university. And I think that was what's outstanding compared to, what we have in our local universities back at home. You have Give It a Go, like, activities where students could sign up and even just go for a day trip. And, on these day trips, you really get to engage with other students that you've never met from all over the world. And you get to learn different types of cultures and different types of religion. Like I remember in my residence, we really had like evenings. We just sat and spoke about how things are done, cultural practices back at home and all that, and just the support, as Sholka mentioned, from a student, a personal tutor, which every student, and sometimes I just wonder, like, every student has been assigned to somebody. I think that is so amazing. Even when you feel like you're away from home, you don't understand what's going on, you can always write to your personal tutor just for guidance, and they can, make you aware of certain things. And also what I love, the community is very inclusive. As an African student, you could go to the shop and find African stores. You could, find your local food in some shops that are around. For me, that was very accommodating, just to know that I can be in a foreign country and still feel African. And also what I think when we came as a Chevening scholar, I think it was, I really felt special, because when you came, we were invited to different activities. Like I think they had all the students that were funded in Wales, like they had and our university hosted it. So all the students from South Wales, we had students from Swansea University, then we had students from Bangor, like just all those students that are within Wales. So they had like an event for all the students that were funded Fulbright, those that were funded through South Wales, Chevening scholars, just a welcoming event to Wales. And it was so nice. They gave us Welsh cakes. They gave us, like some of those goodies, and just to make us feel at home. And from these activities, you really get to engage with other students, and you build a community from there. And that's how networking starts. So I think I did really enjoy. And there were things that I explored. I never did ice skating, and I went out there. I fell a couple of times, but I still loved it. And yeah, so yeah, that's amazing.
I'm sure you don't miss weather. I'm sure that's one thing you won't miss, the pair of you.
I actually do.
That's crazy.
It's actually hot down here. And I'm like, I just wish you could have the rain. Like, you just grab your coat and walk. Like, yeah.
It's we don't realize how lucky we are in the UK sometimes. Lewis, if I can come to you, I'm just conscious I've spoken to the lovely students for some time now. A couple of questions are coming about scholarships and funding, and I think it's wholly relevant given that we've spoken to Victoria, ex-Chevening scholar, and obviously Schlock has mentioned the Phoenix initiative as well. What would you say to students that are looking to come here on a scholarship or a bursary, and they're not sure if they're eligible? How can they find out, and how do they even go about applying?
So two things. One, I mean, my advice as an international student is apply to every single scholarship. Never doubt yourself. And then when you make an application, sometimes, and perhaps Victoria and Shuka can help me with this, is when you usually have to do a personal statement. So why you want the scholarship and why you deserve it. And students sometimes tend to be modest, and modest is a big mistake. Never be modest. So, modesty is a virtue, but only is good to go to heaven. It doesn't do anything else. And to win a scholarship, if you're going to be anything, be arrogant. You're not good, you are the best. So it's super important to believe in yourself and to really put yourself forward. So a scholarship we have, and I'm super happy to share the link we have for the scholarships, and I will do it in the chat as well. So, and you can have all our scholarships there. Remember, some scholarships will be academic excellence. That tends to be Cardiff. It is really everything you do, you have to translate it to academic. So transferable skills is very important. But when you go to Chevening, you have to be a leader. Chevening is looking for leadership. Chevening is looking for game changers, and I have worked with Chevening for years, and I love them because they're amazing people. So every scholarship will have a different take, a different you have to address it in a different way. So really spend your time, apply, and look. Obviously, as well, if you apply first for Chevening, which is perhaps the most competitive one, then the rest becomes a bit easier. So so we have that.
Victoria and Shloka, can I ask, if I start with yourself, Victoria, one of the key questions that always come in is around the English language requirements, so TOEFL, IELTS, and all these various different tests. How was your English before you came to the UK? Was your English good? Did you have to scratch up on it? And did you find other students, perhaps yours was fine anyway? Were there other students that you're aware of that used tests that they had to get their English back up to scratch in order to apply? Victoria, if I can start with yourself.
Okay, to start with myself, in my country, we also do Cambridge exams. So I thought, having done Cambridge in college, I thought that would give me a green light to enter into the UK. However, that wasn't the case. I think the university did require me to write either a TOEFL or an IELTS test. So then the good thing is South Africa has the British Embassy in South Africa. They administer these tests. So they have like dates, and then you could like write these tests so they would come over to my country. So then I took the test, and they have like different bands. So I wrote the test. So there's like the oral speaking, then you have the listening comprehension, and then you have the writing comprehension, listening comprehension. Then you have to do the reading and writing. So luckily I did pass on my first attempt as well. Coming over to the UK, I found it a bit difficult in as much as we have English as an official language in my country. There were just certain things. I think it was more advanced compared to the level of English that I had in my country, known in terms of how, they structure questions, how you need to do it. But the good thing is the university has an English department for international students. So heading there, I think I thought that was like one of the places I could start. So I did enroll for the English for international students, and just to be able to teach me more how to tackle questions, how to address them. And it was really very helpful. And in this class, we had students from all over. We had students from China, we had students from Hong Kong, we had students from India. And everybody in that class, you would find those that had little knowledge on how to speak English very well. But towards the end of the semesters, we were all on the same page, and we could all comprehend everything on the same time. So I want to say the support is there. All you need to do as a student, make sure you pass either one of the required tests to get into the universities. They will always indicate it on their applications, which test you need to take. So you just make sure you take the correct test. And when you go over the other side, make sure you find out from your university. Like at Cardiff University, they do have the English for international students. You just need to make sure you don't miss that email. They're always visible on campus. Sign up, attend these classes. They're very helpful. Yeah.
Excellent. And Shocker, a very similar experience for yourself, I would imagine.
Yes, but fortunately, English is my second language. I've studied in English all my life, so it was a little different for me because obviously I did A levels as well. And going up, because as an international student, you have to do IELTS, you have to prove your English proficiency. I did have to write IELTS, but something to aim for is maybe a band 7 in everything. That's just like a safe criteria to have. But then, as Victoria very nicely mentioned, all the support that's available at Cardiff, you'd also get allocated a personal tutor who will help you with your academic writing skills, because talking in English and writing English academically are two very different skills, and both are covered at Cardiff University. You will have external support from outside of your school in terms of conversational English, and academic support from your academic school in terms of all the assignments you do. So it's all very well taken care of.
And Lewis, just to elaborate further on that, and I think you're probably going to touch upon that. I think the generic consensus with IELTS across the unis in the UK is 6.5 IELTS score. Do you want to elaborate further on that?
Correct. So every master's or every degree will have a different level. So you have medicine 7.5, or you have other pure science, for example, then they may get IELTS 6. However, two things here. One is having an accent is no problem. Hello. And they will treat you amazingly well. They love, it makes you exotic, and people are so welcoming. And that's immediately they will go, where are you from? And that's one of the things I love about the UK, saying, I'm from Venezuela, and getting them so they get asked, they ask questions about my country. So please do not worry about that. Second is with the IELTS, and this is something I want you to be, all of you to have super clear, is when we ask for an IELTS 6, an IELTS 6.5, an IELTS 7, it's a minimum that the university considers you need to do okay. So if we really are hard or seems to be harsh with the IELTS, it's because we know if you get less, you are not going to join the experience. You are not going to really take the best out of it. So that is why we sometimes say, no, it's 6.5, and this is non-negotiable, because we want you to have a good time. This is an investment, not only financially, it's a human investment too. So it's important that you get the best experience. And we know English is the base, it's the one thing you need. So IELTS or TOEFL are very, very important. I have some questions saying, IELTS sometimes it could be waived, but it will depend on your country. It will depend if you did a degree. If you did a degree in an English-speaking country, it has to be within 2 years. If it's longer than that, you will need to do an IELTS test. So always check with the school and with the university and with us, because it will depend.
Absolutely. And I think that's well summed up. And I think, look, most important thing is English, as ignorant as we can be in the UK, it is universally the well-known language. And I think that even in countries such as in South America, English is becoming more and more prevalent among master's courses. So anyone watching, I encourage you to find out more information, because a lot of people can speak English now. Louis, sticking with yourself for the time being, just as we approach the end, if we can discuss intake dates, if we can talk about how one student would go on and apply, where they need to visit, and if they're not sure what to do.
I always say apply as soon as you can. Applications are open, and this for masters and undergraduates. So because the quicker you have that conventional offer, the quicker you know your conditions, and you can relax and apply for accommodation. I do apologize that my internet decided to go nuts on me at the beginning. So I touched a little about those points in my presentation, but really apply as soon as possible. I will say, the more you can plan ahead, the more you can relax. And then even for IELTS. So when I did the IELTS, I did it twice. The first time I did so well, at the second I did much better. I got a whole point more just because I knew the exam. The same with applications. When you apply to the university will usually give you a conditional offer, which is an offer, but you need to have this. You need to really give us all these conditions. But that is a contract. When you have that, you know exactly what you need. So you can start working on it, and once you get them conditional, relax. So apply as soon as possible.
And as an international student, presumably at some stage, not all courses, but some stages, you might have to write a personal statement and give the best version of who you are on a piece of paper, potentially, which is always very difficult. What would you recommend to students that are watching that have got to write a personal statement? What would you recommend for them to put in there? And what's the best piece of advice in terms of portraying yourself and what you guys are looking for?
Okay. I mean, I would like also both students to come in and maybe agree or disagree with me. I think, as I said before, please don't be humble. Believe in yourself. Being humble, being modest, translate on paper as a lack of confidence in yourself. So you really need to let us know that you are amazing, okay? Because all of you are. The fact that you're looking overseas and that makes you unique. So please put that forward. In the UK, different perhaps with the USA, it is more about academic excellence. It's about what do you want to degree and what difference you want to make. Sometimes the USA is a more touchy-feeling and on extracurricular activities. Here it's about transferable skills. It's what you have done outside that can be translated to an academic excellence. To why you be an accepted university and why we should be lucky to have you. So it is how you really do it. So be very confident. If would be my advice.
Excellent. Victoria Schlocker, do you want to elaborate further? Because if I can start with yourself, Victoria, did you have to write a personal statement? Did you have to explain who you were from a Chevening perspective and get that point across?
From a Chevening perspective, that's like very, very important. You literally need to market yourself, like in terms, because you need to stand out. You need to indicate who you are. And there's one thing, they use the STAR approach, there's situation, task, action, and research. That's like very important when you do talk about things that you've been involved in, like if you say you've shown your leadership skills, what was the situation you were in? What was the task that was set before you, your action, and what were the results? So, you need to be able to put it out there, who you are and the type of skills that you have and what you've done. And I know when it came to career planning or studying in the UK, I had to indicate why Cardiff University, because you have to select a number of universities that you're interested in. So one of the things that I did, and also the course that I went onto the university's website and I looked at my course, International Human Resource Management. And then I look at, okay, personally myself, I'm this type of person, I have this type of skills. What in my country, what does, do we lack in human resource management stuff? What gap can we bridge? So what I did is, this is what the university is offering. This is what we don't have in my country. This is the skills I have. I believe I am the candidate, that is suitable to be able to learn these skills from this university. And I mentioned, I quote what the university is able to offer. They are able to teach me employment law. And if I acquaint myself with employment law, I'll be able to bring in place policies and structures that are aligned with our, 2030 vision to bring our country to, so you need to market yourself related to what your country can do. So they really want to see what is it, can you relate what they are offering you and how are you going to pay it back, into your country? So you just need to be able to believe in yourself, your skills that you have, and how you can apply it based on what you're going to gain on the other side. Because everything is online, you just need to read and acquaint yourself and then align it to your personal skills.
Very well said. Schlockler, if I can come to you at this point, I'm going to point a different question in your direction, if that's okay, more in a social aspect, because there'll be people watching, we've heard a lot about the academic side of things and Chevening and scholarship side of things. One of the most important aspects is, what's it like living in Cardiff? What's it like at the university? What are your experiences? I've been to Cardiff many a time, and it's, for instance, those that care, it's a great night out. So much to do there. Do you want to just share those experiences? Because that's so important, isn't it?
No, I completely agree. And in short, it's brilliant. Again, to reiterate, if I could do it during COVID, you guys can do it now. That has to be said. But student life is brilliant in Cardiff. Not just student life, but living in Cardiff in general is amazing because it's such a walkable city. You could literally walk from the city centre to anywhere in 30-40 minutes. The public transport's brilliant. You could, if you're a student, you qualify for a public transport discount with your student card. So money is taken care of there. Great discounts as a student. Secondly, in terms of housing, we have the university themselves have a letting agency. I know how daunting it can be a tenant for the first time and dealing with landlords and stuff. To combat this anxiety, university has our own letting agency, which will help you find a house, and you'll be housed with your own flatmates. And it's just a massive sleepover with your friends for a year, if you look at it that way. So that is also taken care of. In terms of social aspects, we do have a top 3 SU in the country. And I feel like that says a lot in itself. There is a society for everyone. For example, we have a tea appreciation society and a Taylor Swift appreciation society, and that just goes to show like the depth of different skills and interests that Cardiff University caters to. Talking about the SU, we are the only club open on Wednesdays. We host something called YOLO, and every Wednesday afternoons are completely off on your timetable. You wouldn't have a single thing scheduled afternoon on your timetable, because that's just allocated to sports and other extracurricular activities. So the university is quite appreciative of the students doing something other than academics. So it's an overall well taken care of experience. You have great night outs, great public transport discounts. Your housing is taken care of. You can walk everywhere. I don't think you could ask for anything anymore. And it's one of the most affordable cities to live in the UK.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most important things as well. I think I'm pleased you mentioned that, because capital cities all over the world can be very expensive to live in, and Cardiff is not one of them, actually. It's very affordable. One of the things that struck me is when I met the team at Cardiff University recently, I met a student, postgraduate student, and they said one of the most important things, this might not mean anything to international students, by the way, there were 13 Gregs within half a mile. Now, for those of you that don't understand what that means, that's a small bakery, but to that student, the fact there was 13 within a half a mile or a mile, whatever it was huge for them. I thought I would finish on that quite light note, because I think that's quite important to remember that although students are there from an academic point of view, they are living there as well. It's their life. It's a big choice to come over from your respective countries and come to Cardiff, no matter who you are, where you're from, how confident you are. There is that bit of anxiety in there. So Victoria Schlocker, really appreciate your time. It's been absolutely fantastic, and that's fabulous. Luis, if you could send me the presentation, please, I will make sure that everybody watching today and everyone registered for the webinar will be sent the presentation. If you could send it over in a PDF format, that would be great. And everyone that's watching, if you have any questions, any concerns, Luis has put his details and a few links as well in the chat facility, so please reach out to him. You can reach out to me, gareth@postgradsolutions.com, or via the Zoom emails that you've had, and we'll make sure the question reaches either Luis or potentially the two students we've spoken to today. But to everyone involved, thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you.